Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary O'Connor with the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation and the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. On behalf of Alaska Public Media, thank you for watching Hangar Flying. This evening, we are honored to have Ross Nixon as our guest. Mr. Nixon grew up in an aviation family. He's a commercial pilot in Alaska, and he's the author of a new book called Finding Carla. Welcome to the show, Ross.
Hi, Mary. Thank you for having me.
First of all, congratulations on your new book. It's called Finding Carla, the story that forever changed aviation search and rescue. Can you give us a brief description of what the book's about?
Sure. This book is what I called it in the prologue was the blood behind the regulations for the ELTs that are required to be aboard all aircraft. And it's the human story of an accident that happened in the late 1960s that spurred the legislation for mandatory ELTs aboard aircraft.
And how did you find out about this accident? How'd you know?
Well, it's it's sort of a haunting story, and I don't want to give too much away, so people hopefully they'll buy it and read it. But it is in the prologue where, back when I was a kid, back in the early 70s, I'd heard about this story from my father. He was installing an ELT in his Cessna 195, and he was standing in the hangar, and he talked about a family that had crashed down in the Siskiyous, is what he said, and which are the mountains between Oregon and California. And it turns out he was wrong about the exact location, but apparently the family survived the crash of their own Cessna 195, and then they lived for a couple of months after the crash. They were up in the wilderness. They never were found alive, and so they left a diary and a series of letters that explained what happened and how they were not found. And then, Dad did say that the father, the pilot, had tried to walk out and he never was found. So, the story haunted me as a kid, and then as a young adult, and as a pilot, I always was trying to find out about this story. Then finally, a few years ago, I did find out and opened the key to the story, and so I unlocked all the secrets and wrote the book about it. So.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
So you're a writer, and you've written many articles and aviation pieces, and you've had a fair amount of experience in writing and as a pilot. But what about the research? How did you find out about the details behind this story?
Well, thank God for the internet. But the turning point for me was, I was a check airman for one of the companies I worked for, and we were installing the 406 ELTs in the airplanes, and so I thought, well, I should really get updated on those so I can be intelligent about them. And I was reading some articles, and then I found the name Carla Corbus, and Carla's the title of my book, and right then it talked about the Carla Corbus death diary. So I Googled that, and all these articles popped up about her accident, her diary, and this incident. And so that's how I found out about the story and started writing about it. And then the research, it took a long time. I made quite a few trips down to Washington and California, Texas, and I met the family involved in this incident. I got a hold of the inner documents, the letters and the diary, and then through them I got a hold of some of the official records, which were really hard to track down. And so over the years, little bits and pieces of this story came to me, but it didn't come all at once. And I've read thousands of newspaper articles about it too, and then in the end I put it all together and got this book out of it. So, all right.
And I have read the book, and it's clear that you've done a lot more than just internet research on this.
Yeah.
So you did have the cooperation of the family.
Yes, I did, and the brothers involved in the family, they opened their hearts to me and shared some of the personal story of the family and the human side of this event, and some of the personal letters, and all the personal letters are in the book and the diary, and just all the official documents, and they're all sort of woven together into this story. So.
You've also got information about the weather and other events that occurred during that time. So how did you go to the lower 48 and visit different sites to get that?
The weather is pretty easy to find on the internet. There's some weather archives, and some are free and some you can subscribe for. And when I did this, I sort of planned a flight. This flight took place from from Portland down through Reading and then to San Francisco. And so it was pretty easy to look at it, what would a pilot do, and so you start looking at the airports, you look at the route, and then I just got the weather for those days and put it together. I used some maps and, just the usual things that you'd use for planning a flight. It's just I did it, 45 years later. So.
Ross,
Yeah.
tell us when the book will be available and how we might be able to find it.
Okay, the book, ASA is going to announce the book officially at the Oshkosh Air Venture, which is the last week of July. And then right now it's available for pre-order, and it'll be available then. It's on Amazon.com. And if you just Google my name, or go to the Amazon website, look up Ross Nixon, Finding Carla with the C, and it should pop up on the Amazon website. It's also at Barnes & Noble's on the website and then on the ASA website. And again, it's pre-order now, so you can lock it in and get in on the first press run.
Okay.
And then they'll start shipping it the last week of July. So,
Great.
yeah.
We look forward to having you on our next show and learning some more about some of the positive things that came out of this crash. And thank you for your efforts to promote aviation safety.
All right, well, thank you for having me, Mary. So,
Thanks.
all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Hangar Flying. Until next time, fly safely.